Hello traders, tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, September the 9th. Year's 2025. Let's talk trading. Big losses with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. And to make sure you don't have big losses, you have to have your risk management in place. That way you don't lose more than you're willing to lose on any one single trade or during a trading session. Walmal, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I've been gone for a little while and took vacation, sometimes blues. So I haven't been around very much. That's
Yeah.
okay. Back in the seats after Labor Day here. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, today's topic, big losses. And I was saying that there's really only two ways to have a big loss. And the first way is to be trading really heavy and price moves against you and kind of wipes out your account. Or the other one is that you're normal, but you just let price keep moving against you and let it keep moving against you and it wipes you out. But you said you think there's a third way.
Yeah, I think that there is a third way. And the third way is I've had this happen to me. It hasn't happened to me in a long time, but it happened to me. Good grief, showing how old I am. But it's almost 20 years ago. But what happened in my particular situation was, I was just learning how to trade back then. I was only in maybe a one lot trade or a half a lot trade, probably something like that. And guess what day it was? It was the first Friday of the month. As we as traders know at FOREX, that means it's NFP day. And NFP day it's farm payroll, non-farm payroll, and back in the day, back 20 years ago, it was not unusual for the number to be printed and one tick later it moved, 50, 75, 100 pips against you in one, two ticks. It's not unusual at all for that to occur. And guess what? I was in a situation where it's funny because I remember everything about that trade. Here it is all that time was expired. But, I was long and the number came in and it was good for the US. And next thing you know, in my half lot trade, I'm now down literally 90 pips, blink of an eye, and my account size at that time was extremely small. And guess what happened to my account size? My trade, my broker at the time was very nice to me. What they did is they closed the account down because my entire account was gone. All in the blink of an eye, just that quick. And the problem is, I remember arguing with him. I had a stop loss here, and the broker came back at me and said, "Yeah, you did have a stop loss there, but guess what? There was nobody that was there and available to take the trade. So guess what? It didn't get honored." and no matter how much breath I spent, how many emails I went and wrote, how much complaining I did, this was a broker that was, regulated. I sent a letter to the regulators, and regulators came back at me and said, "Too bad, sucker." That's just the way the market works. And so that's you know, unfortunately, big losses like that can happen. And so you need to go. We say all the time, minimize your risk, right? And I say all the time, preserve capital. That was one of the big steps in my trading career that made me learn to go preserve capital. Part of preserving capital for me, anyway, is I will not be in a trade for, a huge, you know, um, you know, a huge news announcement. It just sounds worth it to me. Yeah, I can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. Now, so but the thing is, and the problem is, well, people say, well, sometimes put a stop in there. Now you minimize the amount. The problem is, what if your stock doesn't get honored? Let's say another type of thing that happened back in 2006, 2007, whatever year that was. What if it happens again and your stock isn't honored? What are you going to do then? And that's a reality of trading. It can happen. You know, tomorrow you could be in some stock, you know, something catastrophic happens, you know, to that particular company. You could go from stock that you bought at, you know, $250 a share, and you know, and it goes from 250 down to 50 cents because of some type of development in the world. That is an absolute, you know, plausible thing that can happen. There is no, you know, when you're trading, there are no guarantees. There's no guarantee for anything. You know, your principal is at risk, whether you like it or not. It is at risk. So protect it. Preserve your capital.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, you bring up that reminds me that one painful day I was there used to be this on Pal Talk there was this guy Market Master, and he was in there and he was talking about this one stock, and I had never traded the stock, and back then, you know, I was always slinging at least 1,000 shares. Well, all of a sudden I get in this stock and the screen freezes. It's like, what the heck? And it's just not moving. It's just not moving. Well, I didn't know anything about something called a stock halt. And so when it started moving, it had dropped, I don't know, something like $3 or $4. I just remember that was like a $5,000 loss. And it was like, that was one of the things it's like, you know what? That's I think that was when I quit doing the stock de jour or stock of the day. And it's like, no, I'm only gonna milk my cows, you know. Because
Yeah. The
that's
thing
like,
is,
and he used to say things like, you know, you get your face ripped off. Well, yeah, $5,000 hit like that was getting my face ripped off.
yeah, and then, you know, there are people out there where a $5,000 loss means nothing to them, and
Right.
other people that's a life changing event.
Yeah, that was, yeah, but back then, you know, I mean, um, you know, it hurt, but you know, it was nothing to make 5,000, because then I think either went back to trading Google or Taser or Apple. I can't remember what, but it's like, you know, trading what I know.
That's well, that's the thing. That's sort of like, you know, one of the reasons why I settled in on trading forex and trading the pound in particular is that as long as I go and stay away from those periods of time that I know that you're going to get ridiculous moves, you know, it's I don't want to say it's safe because it's not. Nothing in this world is safe. But at least I can go and mitigate against huge losses. And you know, and that's the reason why I did. Just because I like to be in a situation where at least I know that more than likely, you know, I'm able to go and manage my loss. And you know, heroes, you know, I mean, I trade news, but you know, what do I do when I trade news? You've been around me long enough to know what I do.
You usually wait for at least a minute.
Yeah, I wait at least a minute, 2 minutes, wait for it to settle down. Because what happened is, you know, you'll get, let's say it's NFP Friday, okay? And it goes and makes a big move of 50 or 75 pips over the first, you know, minute or two. And you get that huge candle. Well, what you do, what I do, what I like to do is say, okay, now if I go and get a, you know, if price action tells me it's going to continue that direction, okay, I'll jump in and take that trade after a minute, 2, 3 minutes have gone by, and it's settled down, and it's not my spread isn't, you know, 14 pips or something crazy like that, and it's moving kind of more methodically. Or if it's I think it's showing that hey, it's going to reverse back towards the middle of that big move up. So like, you know, if you like to say that you like to go back to the open of the return bar, then I'll go in that direction. So I look to see what the market is actually doing, pay attention to it, and trade accordingly. A whole lot safer. You know, yeah, I'm not making 75 pips on one trade, you know. But then again, do I really need to make 75 pips on one trade? No, I don't. I can be very happy making, you know, on a news day, making 10 or 15, maybe even 20 pips after things have settled down and there's less chance of that big loss. And that's the thing, again, it comes down to that my adage, preserve capital at all costs. That's more important than anything else you do. Because once your capital is gone, you're gone.
Yeah, it's game over until you have to put more money in the machine.
Exactly. So like if you're in Las Vegas, you got to go back and buy some more tokens.
Yep.
I'm
So
not willing to go and do that.
so I guess there's the lessons to be gleaned from this is one, make sure your position size is proper for your account. So, and then you definitely make sure you don't lose more. So, you can be taking the same trade. Or do you have a mini lot or do you have a full lot? So if you have a mini lot and you have $100, risk management number, so you can let it go, 100 pips against you. But if you have
Right.
a full lot and you have that $100 risk, guess what? You can only let it go 10 pips against you. And so I guess from an emotional standpoint, you have to decide, do you like to see your money go up and down $10 every tick, or every pip rather, versus $1? Um, and some people want to get rich quick, and so they can go buy their Lamborghini, but um, it's usually wisely and slow that that wins in this game. And
Yeah.
just making sure, because the thing is, if you have your risk management in place, that can actually, it can hide some other mistakes. So if you FOMO, you rush the trade or you get in too late, you still might make a profit. But the one thing is having that risk management in place, it just makes sure you don't do something stupid and really suffer, because you might keep FOMOing, but you only lose your maximum amount that you're allowed to lose. And that's one of the big things. If you watch any of those gambling YouTube videos on poker or something, that's the one thing that they all do. They'll they'll take their loss, their minimum, but when the time comes, they're all in.
Yep. And that's the thing. That shows you the guys who win as opposed to the guys that lose. The guys that win are the guys that wait till the appropriate time to go jump on. Guys get wasted out. Usually the amateurs will sometimes sit around those tables with like they going in all in. They're only 3 hands in. Why? Because they see, oh, I got a great hand here. There's no possible way that guy's got a better hand than me. And next thing you know, you go all in. They've gone all in. They're gone. Meanwhile, everybody else at the table is checked. That's all they did. They checked. And so, that they take a loss because of that one guy who does have the better. But but the thing is, they all lost a little bit of money as opposed to the amateur who lost everything.
Yeah, and when it comes to losing, you just have to realize sometimes you'll get a setup and it'll win, then you'll see the exact same setup, and then the market just goes against you, and there's nothing you can do about that. There's just nothing. That's why you have your risk management in place. And anybody who's new here, if you go back and watch my some of my first videos back when I came up with the buy zone, I used to say stops were for sissies, but the reason is because to me it was so apparent. So like right here, this is the buy line, this is the sell line. So if you buy and all of a sudden price hits the sell, well, to me it was obvious that you get out, and if anything, you reverse. But it wasn't so obvious, and I took a lot of flack for that back in the day. But once again, that just goes to show it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.